this video you will learn what is the difference between project leader and project manager, what are the benefits of project leadership, how to be an effective project leader, what are the theories and approaches for leadership, what is servant leadership and its effectiveness. Words of wisdom: if everything seems to be going well, you obviously don't know what's going on. The difference between project leader and project manager. Even though it is true that every good project manager is a competent leader as well, and while the two functions are often embodied in the same individual, project leaders and project managers have distinct spheres of influence. Some project parts are managed, while others are led. However, both are important to the success of any company operation. Managers are theoretically responsible for the pragmatic components of a project. They must coordinate resources in order to get the best possible outcomes while meeting the needs of the stakeholders. To accomplish that, they must prioritize work completion, meet deadlines, and produce quantifiable outcomes. Putting it another way, managers must be a little scientifically minded while still focusing on how to accomplish things. To put it plainly, the processes on which managers depend are valuable instruments, but their scope is restricted. No checklist has ever been successful in motivating teams. Similarly, no organizational method could possibly explain a strategy's core vision. As a result, according to a recent theory, the fundamental cause of failed projects is insufficient project management leadership. Leaders are critical to the development of a project as they can convert visions into realities, settle rising disputes, and create teams out of human resources. They contribute to the creation of a productive atmosphere in which everyone is encouraged to reach peak performance. To put it another way, leaders use an entirely distinct set of abilities to supplement the administrative aspects of project execution. Without their skills to inspire followers and unify the team behind a common goal, the dry matter of processes would quickly demotivate members, leading to project failure or bad performance. Who is a project leader? A project leader is the person that leads others and ensures that the project is completed. The project leader gets involved with the team, inspiring them, attending to their needs, and fostering a pleasant and effective work environment. Among their key roles are participating in discussions with other leaders, creating progress updates for projects they're working on, maintain the team's focus on the project and ensure it's on track to meet its objectives, product prototype testing. Who is a project manager? A project manager is a trained professional that is in charge of overseeing a project and keeping to deadlines. The project manager is in charge of all tactical project tasks. Instead of inspiring the team, they are in charge of maintaining the organization. Their main duties include things like aiding in the definition of the project's objectives, goals, and deliverables, maintaining the project's budget, paperwork, and personnel, and ensuring that everyone has a job to perform in the project, delivering updates on a project status and any potential challenges, taking care of problems when they come up, identifying potential risks, and making strategies for them if they do, progress reporting and documentation to keep the team and important stakeholders informed, performing quality control checks on the finished product. The distinctions between project leaders and project managers. Some people treat both terms as the same. A project leader, in truth, has greater influence over a project and more latitude to experiment with different management techniques than a project manager. The viewpoints vary in significant yet minor ways. The following are the primary distinctions between project leadership versus project management. Project managers are coordinators, but project leaders are visionaries. Project managers are primarily concerned with project coordination. Project leaders, in contrast, are accountable for the project's overall success and vision. Their vision should lead the rest of the staff in terms of what to do and how to accomplish it. Project managers are project-focused, but project leaders are people-focused. Project managers are in charge of the approaches that result in a successful project. Their primary responsibility is guaranteeing that the team fulfills its goals on schedule and on budget. Project leaders concentrate on project management while motivating people who work with them to realize their vision. Project managers carry out the tasks while project leaders think. Project managers know exactly what they have to accomplish. To guarantee that deadlines are reached, project managers oversee the budget, personnel, and duties of team members. While project leaders monitor the performance of the team too, their aim is to encourage and help produce fresh ideas in order to accomplish objectives. Management skills versus leadership skills. First and foremost, it is critical to recognize that leadership and management abilities are required for the project to be completed effectively. Even while it may seem that this section undervalues management strength, this is not true. Leadership abilities may seem more advanced, but a down-to-earth attitude is often required in the day-to-day operations of the project. For instance, Think short to mid-range may seem devalued in comparison to leaders' long-term thinking, yet it really entails much needed attention on approaching deadlines and associated deliverables. Similarly, control may have negative connotations when contrasted to inspiring, yet in other circumstances, it's an essential organizational tool. Having said that, management and leadership qualities are fundamentally different. A strong emphasis on management will need the use of abilities such as forecasting and planning, risk evaluation, budgeting, human resource administration, making decisions. Project leaders or managers with good leadership qualities should have a somewhat distinct set of talents, including negotiation, communication, ability to resolve conflicts, creating a team, ability to influence, political and cultural consciousness. All sets of talents are necessary to fulfill stated goals throughout the project lifecycle. Project managers should have good leadership abilities while also being aware of their profession's more technical features. Unfortunately, over 97% of company projects struggle due to an overemphasis on logical aspects and very little leadership. Benefits of project leadership. Project leadership is a necessary quality for guiding the project to a proper conclusion. Leadership in a project setting, similar to leadership in other business areas, requires the demonstration of a variety of skills and behaviors. Leadership is essential for guaranteeing the success of your initiatives, from team direction to project governance. Creating the vision and encouraging the team to collaborate in order to accomplish it is a key component of leadership, as you can see in the context of a project. Delivering any project requires a team effort, and although some teams work sans a visible leader, in business it is more customary for someone to take the leadership position, leading and directing the team toward their objectives. In practical terms, the real consequence of effective leadership would be reflected in outcomes such as project members' productivity has increased, workplace success, powerful relationships within the team, a unified and shared vision. Admittedly, none of the above advantages is a goal in and of itself. The true benefit of effective leadership must be seen in quantifiable achievements, improved performance, and desirable outcomes. Nonetheless, the advantages stated tend to reflect a more solidly constructed road to the general success of a company venture. For instance, if a considerable burden is imposed on the backs of project members without the same vision, performance would most certainly suffer. On the other hand, persuade a collection of people that they must all work diligently to achieve mutually beneficial goals, and it's reasonably likely that they will attempt to outdo themselves. That is a project leader's actual power. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. On my website, projectmanageric.com, you can get the free slide deck templates for your project management needs, as well as training based on my 544-page book Project Management for Managers. Please see the details below in the comments. How to be an effective project leader. Increase your awareness of your organization. The degree of authority and influence possessed by a project leader is influenced by the structure, culture, and size of the organization. Some industries, such as it, are strongly project-driven. Others, on the other hand, may only utilize projects on an as-needed basis. The role, authority, budget management, availability of resources, and access to workers of a project leader will be influenced by organizational variables. Be an efficient planner. A key project leadership skill is developing an initial plan and scope for your project, having it signed off by project stakeholders, and sustaining it throughout the project. This is what most people think of when it comes to project management. This planning process may make use of a variety of tools and strategies. Be the team leader. The vision is established by the leader. They motivate others around them. Someone with outstanding project leadership abilities fosters team agreement and togetherness while also managing day-to-day team operations. Project team leadership entails establishing an atmosphere in which everyone can thrive. People are lured to the project culture which engulfs them. Stakeholders wish to take part in the project as they believe you will complete the task while also creating a nice working environment. Learn how to encourage others. You must keep the project participants motivated. This may include inspiring their supervisors as well, in case they deal with other obligations beyond the project. Leaders inspire people to act even if they are not technically in charge. As the project leader, you figure out what enables other team members to feel like they're doing their all, and you do your best to deliver it to them. Everyone is driven differently, and a person's motivation may shift over time. Great leaders realize these distinctions and enable their employees to accomplish their best by fostering a healthy work environment. Keep your resources organized. Organizing resources to enable your plan is critical to its execution. As stated in the beginning, projects often have numerous moving pieces, one of which is people. People take time off or exit the organization, devices malfunction, software packages expire, and so on, all of which may derail even the best laid plans. Be a versatile communicator. One of the most important skills of project management is communication. Leaders must be able to communicate effectively since so much of their job includes collaboration with others. If you can't communicate, you can't cooperate properly. Leaders may communicate ideas to people and groups in person, over the phone, or through web conferencing. They may also put their thoughts down on paper to ensure that the message is disseminated and absorbed. Communication is more than just passing on messages and conversing with people. Knowing how to listen, as Jared Jackson explains in Forbes, is just as crucial. Communication is one of the most important characteristics of a project manager, particularly in a leadership capacity. Effective communication with project participants, other stakeholders, and other relevant parties inside or outside of the organization is essential. This is commonly accomplished via the use of project management tools. The idea is to convey the correct information to the right people in the proper format and at the right time. A project participant, for example, may need significantly more specific information compared to a high-level sponsor of the project. Know how to resolve conflicts. When you introduce something new or make a change to something, conflict is unavoidable. Effective leaders understand how to use conflict constructively since the finest answers are found when ideas are contested. Teams may benefit from conflict because it enables all opinions to be out there and different points of view to be presented. Often, this leads to a better approach and more successful project outcomes. To be able to recognize and address conflict before it becomes a problem for the team, leaders must be well versed in conflict resolution techniques. The Thomas Kilmann Conflict Mode tool provides useful information on how to handle conflict. Possessing a variety of conflict resolution techniques is one of the key fundamental abilities for project managers. Be a better problem solver. Even the simplest initiatives have problems. Gather the information, assess your alternatives, and make a decision. Above everything, maintain your composure and logic. Is it possible to tackle the issue inside the primary project team? If scope shift is causing the difficulty, you may need to engage a project stakeholder. Empowering the project team and the larger stakeholder group to participate in developing solutions is part of fostering a healthy working culture that entails eliminating impediments so that each team member may fulfill their work and contribute new ideas instead of worrying about anything getting in the way. Empowering leaders also drive decisions to the lowest level possible down the hierarchy, allowing specialists to make decisions on the solutions required to keep the project going ahead. Theories and approaches to leadership. There is no one style to leadership, nor is there a particular kind of individual that is a great leader. According to project leadership theory, a great leader is a mix of traits and the capacity to adapt to diverse conditions. Leadership is something you can learn, and you can enhance your capabilities by learning about leadership ideas in management. The three basic families of leadership theory that apply to project delivery are trait theories, behavioral theories, situational theories. Trait theories. The strengths of the project manager are related by trait theories. This perspective on leadership identifies the abilities and attributes that are beneficial while leading a team. Resilience, honesty, trustworthiness, tenacity, and so on are examples. There was a train of thinking that certain characteristics were intrinsic and you have to be born with them. Fortunately, the notion is no longer present in leadership conceptions and theories. We know that a person may take actions to become more resilient or assertive or to cultivate any other sort of leadership attribute. Credit Blue Cat reports. Behavioral theories. Behavioral leadership theories are concerned with what a leader does. Some CEOs are dictatorial and make decisions without consulting their staff. Others are more collaborative, inviting feedback and empowering their employees. Either strategy is without fault, as is any combination of the two. There's a time and place for every style. You wouldn't imagine a battlefield commander ordering a huddle so the squad could discuss what to do, would you? In such cases, a choice must be taken swiftly. That dictatorial attitude, however, would not work when discussing with a group of residents about constructing a new airport near their houses. A collaborative, receptive leadership style would better engage the community. Situational theories. Situational leadership refers to the process of deciding which leadership style to employ in any given scenario. These leadership methods are often known as contingency theories. They analyze whether it is more effective to use a task-based or a people-based approach. They also take into account the individuals you lead. What type of encouragement and support do they require? A leader tailors their style of leadership to the demands of the team as well as the business environment and project circumstances. A person who has never handled a certain work before will require more hands-on assistance from the team leader compared to someone who is competent in completing that activity. Servant leadership and its effectiveness. Robert K. Greenleaf originated the phrase servant leader in his 1970 article The Servant as Leader. Servant leadership is a style of leadership founded on the premise that leaders put the greater good first. Leaders with this approach prioritize their team and organization. They do not prioritize their own goals. Employees who work in a servant leadership setting are more likely to feel heard. This increases their likelihood of working to the utmost of their skills by 4.6 times. Servant leadership strives to realize a goal by empowering workers. As a result, workers may learn and develop while also contributing their own knowledge and vision. Instead of employing control and sometimes toxic leadership approaches, this is based on increasing influence and authority. Employees are empowered under servant leadership. However, the leader does not just vanish. The servant leader is concerned with creating the organization's strategic vision and expressing it to the team, encourage team ownership and extended supported trust, ensuring that the team possesses the necessary resources, finances, abilities, and focus to make a difference, creating a foundation through which their team may thrive. Bottom-up empowerment. This entails increasing team members' self-confidence, ability to make decisions, and ability to cooperate. 10 Servant Leadership Principles. Robert K. Greenleaf proposed 10 servant leadership principles. Murray C. Spears, past president of the Robert K. Greenleaf Center for Servant Leadership, lays down these 10 principles as follows. Listening. It is critical to thoroughly listen to team members without interrupting them. Empathy. It is critical that you know your team in order to employ empathic leadership to assist them to flourish. Healing. Some team members may be traumatized as a result of prior toxic work situations. Help others achieve a positive work-life balance so they can recover. Self-awareness. A servant leader should be aware of both his or her own talents and flaws. This is to determine how they integrate within the broader team. Persuasion. Instead of only using authority, servant leaders may utilize persuasion and influence to get team members to do what they want. Conceptualization. Servant leaders must be able to conceive in terms of the broader picture. They may use this to develop strategies for the team and company. Foresight. It is critical to use the things learned in order to develop in the future. Stewardship. This entails leading by example, where team members follow your actions rather than simply doing what you say. Commitment to people's development. You must devote resources and time to assist individuals and teams in their development. Organizational training, development programs, and progress and transformation counseling may all be beneficial. Building community. Servant leadership necessitates the development of connections among coworkers. As a consequence, team members develop trust and get more productive. 7 Servant leadership traits. Servant leadership entails empowering the team and fostering a healthy work atmosphere. But how does it truly appear? Let's look at the 7 servant leadership attributes. Teamwork. The team must always come first. Worker satisfaction, and collaboration are the driving forces behind the wheel. Adaptability. Servant leadership may range from revenue-driven sales workplaces to non-profit companies dedicated to social benefit. Motivation. Servant leaders deliver high levels of assistance to their people, which fuels motivation and engagement. Open communication. The team has faith in a leader who can deliver clarity in complicated, changing circumstances. Authenticity. Servant leaders must honestly care about the growth of individuals and teams. Leadership must value sincerity. Accountability. Ownership inspires dedication and purpose. Employees strive toward personal objectives and accept responsibility for the outcomes. Traditional leadership versus servant leadership. Servant-first leadership is the polar opposite of conventional leadership. Traditional leadership is described as a leadership approach in which the leader is seen as the focal point of the team. Workers are there to help the boss achieve corporate objectives. On the other hand, servant leadership prioritizes the needs of others. The more time and effort you spend in functioning as a support for your staff, the more productive they will be according to this leadership concept. A servant leader is more inclusive. She must cultivate an inclusive culture among their team members. Inclusive teams enable everyone to develop a feeling of belonging. This provides them with an opportunity to flourish. A servant leader puts more focus on their team than the customer. They prioritize the needs of their teams, but this does not imply that consumers are ignored. Servant leaders are concerned with the team's progress and well-being. As a result, they may develop competent professionals who can provide superior service to clients. They place more focus on ethics. This leadership style has ethical consequences that regular leadership does not have. Servant leaders that act unethically may generate problems for their teams, such as decreasing motivation and development. What constitutes servant leadership in real life? A genuine desire to help others is a quality of successful servant leaders. Additionally, they make decisions with clarity, effectiveness, and charisma. Here are a few real-world instances of servant leadership. Setting an example, being humble, authentic, and trustworthy. Your leadership must be built on a foundation of humility. Your subordinates will obey you if you talk with arrogance and dominance out of fear. Instead, you should provide a trustworthy and authentic example with your words and deeds, demonstrating the importance of the work, purpose, and awareness. Each component of a clock mechanism is critical. The same is true for every team. Every member of the team is critical to the team's success. Making certain that this message reaches workers might boost their motivation. It may also improve their performance. One method to do this is to express clearly the downstream effect of their effort. You can demonstrate the effect both within and outside the firm. Talk about the individual or persons who will utilize and expand on what they have done rather than the figures and measurements. Always connect their particular accomplishments to the larger company objectives. This encourages a stronger connection to the company's objective. Most crucial, acknowledge their excellent work. Many employees believe that the most essential component of their job is being recognized for their accomplishments. Encourage teamwork, community building, and dedication. You are the engine that produces a feeling of community and collaboration as a servant leader. Encourage employee commitment to one another to boost teamwork. You may also persuade them to delegate authority. Finally, team members may be included in decision-making procedures. For example, inquire about what they would want to perform on the new project, or you can ask how they believe they can bring value to their job. The trick is to remain patient and take your time. In today's hectic society, it might be quite tempting to simply navigate through the day, supporting the growth and development of the team, forethought and ingenuity. Recognizing and forecasting staff needs is an important component of the servant leader's duty. When allocating project obligations to every team member, for example, make sure you give the required resources or the capacity to get them. If you act with a service-first approach, you will actually empower people to do their jobs, caring for team members, compassion and empathy. Likewise, the servant leader should foster a welcoming workplace. Employees should feel at ease in this setting. They should not feel frightened if they raise particular issues or inquire. Empathy and understanding seem to be particularly crucial in this setting. For example, if a person brings to you a grievance about a colleague, you should investigate it. You take a moment to assist them in working through the dispute and eventually resolving it. You're sympathetic, requesting feedback, listening abilities. Encourage an adequate degree of interaction with the workers that encourages active and careful listening. A servant leader routinely asks questions freely and follows it up, not simply when something is wrong. They listen to input rather than simply giving it. How to be a servant-first leader. Servant leadership is a transformative leadership approach that requires practice. This is where you may concentrate your efforts to exhibit servant leadership qualities. Improve your communication abilities. The philosophy of servant leadership is based on getting the best from your team. To accomplish so, you must be able to properly articulate corporate goals and purposes. This is done to ensure that they are sufficiently prepared to make sound judgments. Developing communication skills like succinctness, nonverbal cues, and clarity can assist you in doing this. Communication isn't just about what you say. This leadership style is based on listening to your team members' perspectives. To really comprehend their decision-making process, practice active listening, be more empathic. In a leadership position, empathy is essential. It is particularly critical in servant leadership. Empathy is the ability to put oneself in the shoes of another. It permits you to view things through their eyes. If you want to be a transformative leader, you must exercise this ability. Improve your self-awareness. Charismatic leaders could be appealing and excellent communicators. However, it is critical that they be also cognizant of their self-limits. Increasing your self-awareness entails paying attention to how you behave and what you say, as well as the influence it has on people around you. This includes identifying when your behaviors do not match your ideal picture of yourself and charting a clear course of action to correct this. Learn to utilize your power for good. Being a great leader requires the use of persuasion. It involves being able to persuade people that your way of thinking is correct. This ability may be seen as a somewhat different leadership style than servant leadership. As a servant leader, though, there is room for persuasion. Here's an illustration. If your team is split on a problem, you may have to use your persuasion and influence abilities to reach a consensus. Learn to put others first. An authoritarian leader is mainly concerned with himself or herself. That is the polar opposite of servant leadership. It is critical to cultivate selflessness in order to be a good leader. This indicates that you prioritize the aims and wellness of others above your own. Of course, there is a line to be drawn. You must still care for your own self. The objective, though, is to make your own agenda less of a priority. This will promote employee engagement, which has been shown to raise the performance of employees by up to 73%. Remember the organization's objectives. The pursuit of corporate objectives is at the core of the servant leadership philosophy. Even when team interaction is prioritized, this is still true. Therefore, it's crucial to keep these objectives in mind. Keep your focus on these goals and don't allow anybody else's interests to cause you to stray from them. The team has to be led toward a choice that is sensible in light of the company's goal. Learn how to holistically grow people. The conventional definition of management is getting work done through people, but real management is developing people through work. Various leadership styles use different methods for staff development. The objective is usually to increase staff efficiency and production. This is true whether the leader is democratic or despotic. In the servant leadership approach, productivity and efficiency are still vital, but it's just as important to train each member of the team so they may grow. The following skills can be nurtured: decision-making abilities, communication abilities, the ability to consider the big picture, improve team skills by making your direct reports more holistic. It may also boost staff engagement. Engagement is beneficial not just from their standpoint, but also from your company's perspective. Simply assessing employee engagement has been found to enhance earnings by up to 24%. Click on the video card on the right to understand how to create successful project management milestones. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. On my page projectmanageric.com you can get the free slide deck templates for your project management needs, as well as training based on my 544-page book Project Management for Managers, translated into 12 languages. Please see details below in the description. If you managed to get that far, I am sure you would love to subscribe to this channel and get free project management templates on projectmanagementic.com website.